Oh, this is gonna be exciting. So I'm here today with something a little old school. It's an Atomos Ninja 2, and we're gonna have a look at it today. And yet another super cool unboxing. Alright, so we are here with the Atomos Ninja 2. Obviously not a new product. I got this used from Adorama for $209. This is a camera monitor from 2012 that also records. And I know you probably think like that's expensive to play for such an old monitor. But my primary camera is a GH4. To really get the best quality out of it, to get 10-bit 422 color, you have to shoot with an external monitor or record video with an external monitor. Now, this only does 1080p up to 30 frames per second. It does 1080i up to 60, and it does 720p at 60. So I already shoot at 1080p 24 frames anyway. I don't really use the 4K on this camera, so I'm not really too worried about it. Also, super impressive that this came with the original box. So this is the second product that I bought from them used. I bought the GH2 a few months ago, and that also came with the original box. I didn't do an unboxing for it. This, I wanted to do an unboxing for just to kind of see, you know, what we get or what we could expect if we decide to buy something used from like Adorama or B&H Photo. So let's get this open. This is kind of cool. This goes over the features: focus peaking, zebra patterns, false color, blue only, of course 10-bit 422. It has a file size limit of 1 terabyte, so that's awesome. All right, so let's see what kind of condition we're in here. Oh wow, so this is really impressive. This actually has like the original, or what seems like the original package. I'm just gonna pull this whole thing out. So you do get the battery with it. I doubt this is the original battery. I actually have a couple of these batteries laying around, but they're pretty much close to dead, so it is good that I got another one now. This is the monitor, but we'll come back to it. Let's see what else is in here. Oh, one thing that was listed that was missing from here were it said the caddy screws for the hard drive. So I don't know if that's different from just the regular hard drive screws, but we will soon find out. And I'm guessing this is the caddy. This is a USB transfer device. So that way, I guess you could just pop the drive directly in here. So you have your power and SATA connector right here, kind of all as one connector, and then you just boom, put your drive up there, transfer data. So yeah, this looks like, this is the caddy. So it looks like this is just uses regular hard drive screws. So whoops. Some kind of adhesive thing in here. I might actually have to read the instructions for this. This might be crazy. It might be crazy. So there's that. There's also this. I think it might actually come with. Oh wow, that's not a big deal at all. So this actually comes with 2 hard drive caddies, and the other one does have the screws. So I went out and bought some extra screws. I mean, they're only like $5 on Amazon, but I went and bought some extra hard drive screws just in case. But it looks like it's not a big deal because I'm not going to be using multiple hard drives, but I could in the future, so who knows. And this also comes with an AC adapter, and it also comes with a power plug. Well, sorry. This is the AC adapter, aka the power plug. This is like a weird car charger one. That's how you could tell it's old school, because if it was today, it would just be USB. But also useful to have because I have other devices that use these batteries. So I could also, if I need to plug in a light that's battery powered, I could also use this. So pretty cool. All right, and then we also have, let me move some of this stuff out of the way, the battery charger here. And these are your various power connectors. Yes, I don't know who had this thing before, but it's in like immaculate condition. And I think this is the Original charger. Yeah, it does have a little scratch up here, but you know, for something that's old, I was really expecting it to not be in that good a condition. So the US charger is already on here. Of course, here is the thing itself. This is the Ninja-2, which is heavier than it looks, but it's actually a lot smaller than it looks online. It's already heavy without any batteries on, so you can only imagine once you get some batteries on this thing, it's going to be quite weighty. But yeah, again, this recorder is in immaculate condition. This unboxing could potentially be ruined if this thing doesn't actually work. All right, so we are here. And it's already set to shoot in ProRes. I believe this is a touchscreen. Oh yeah, it is. Doi. Okay. So yeah, there's no input, so all that stuff's grayed out. I mean, this isn't going to be the greatest screen, and you can get a better quality monitor for $200. But as far as a recorder to record 10-bit video, it's really going to be difficult to find one this cheap. Now, another thing that's really changed since this recorder first came out are SSDs. They've gotten a lot cheaper, so I went ahead and I picked up an SSD for this because really, if you want to record high quality footage, an SSD is the best way to go over a traditional spinning disk drive, which this does also support. You know, if you want to get like a laptop drive and throw it in there, you can do that, but I got this 512 gig Team Group SSD. Now, it's not the greatest SSD. It doesn't have DRAM cache, but it was $45, and I'm gonna be moving footage off of it so quickly, and I'm probably not gonna fill it up because I think 512 is gonna be around a little over 2 hours of recording, which I rarely ever do. So it'll probably be fine for what I'm using it for. Oops, the packaging won't be fine. So we got a little Team Group here. All right, boom, and our drive is all Atomos up. So this should just easily slide into here. Yep, and then that's easily slides into there so we could transfer the data. At least this is USB 3. It looks like it has an extra. Is this for USB 2 or do you have to actually plug both of these? I don't know. This is gonna be crazy when I find out. So that, just like that. And then this, I don't know which way this slides into the camera. Hopefully it doesn't let you put it in backwards. It doesn't. That's what these lines are for. And it has a nice satisfying click. All right, so that's it for the unboxing part of it. I'm gonna go play with this a little bit more, come back, have some comparison footage, and tell you if it was actually worth the upgrade, the $209 I spent for this. See you in a bit. All right, and I'm back with my impressions of this Atomos Ninja 2, and to me, it was definitely worth it. Now, as far as the color difference between 8-bit 420 and then 10-bit 422, I can't tell the difference because I can't see the colors. Like, I literally can't see them because my monitor only supports 16.7 million colors, which is enough for 8-bit 420, but not enough for 10-bit 422, which I'm actually going to be fixing that next week. So stay tuned. AKA, I'm getting a new monitor. And I got a heck of a deal for it. It should be on its way, so hopefully it gets here in enough time for next week's video. If not, it'll be the week after next. Either way, subscribe to make sure you don't miss it. But yeah, this thing is awesome. It's hard to recommend buying this for the color difference in 2020. Now, it's not because I can't see the color right now, because I'm sure it's better, but you are limited to 1080p 30. So if you have a camera that can record internally at 4K at a higher bit rate, then it might actually look better than what this recorder can offer. But considering that I record at 1080p 24 frames on my GH4 anyway, considering that's the highest quality video you can get out of it as far as if you're looking at bit rate, because I don't have an all intra codec for 4K on this camera. So 4K records at 100 megabytes max. With 1080p, you can get all intra and record at 200. And when I look at the footage side by side, to me, 1080p with the higher bit rate always look better than 4K. So that's why I've always recorded in 1080. However, right now, I am recording in 4K because I'm recording to the Ninja-2, downsampling in 1080p. So I'm curious if that'll actually look better than the 1080p all intra internally. I have done some recording in 1080p and it does look good. Even though I can't tell the difference color wise, I definitely see the difference. It's a subtle differences, but in quality, like being able to see the fibers in my shirt better and things like that when I'm reviewing the footage and editing. How that translates over to YouTube, I'm not sure if it will, just because of the compression, but there are subtle things to notice and there are subtle advantages. One of the things that you might want to consider buying this for is if you have a camera, like let's say if you do shoot in 1080p, but your camera can only record for 30 minutes. This would be like a cheaper option to bypass the recording limit without having to buy a new camera. Granted, that's going to depend on your camera still, because if your camera just shuts off after 30 minutes no matter what, like even if you're not recording, then that still wouldn't really help. But if you do have a camera that can connect to HDMI and it would just stay on, this can bypass the recording limit. Another thing that I like is it doesn't have the file size limit like most cameras do, you know, where it gets to 4 gigs and then it creates another file and then you have to stitch it together in editing, which isn't like a big deal. It doesn't take that long, but this records everything as one continuous file, no matter how long you're recording. Another advantage to me is being able to record to the SSD, because if you look at the price of like a high capacity memory card, once you start getting up there in size, a 1 terabyte SD card, I can't even remember pricing right now, but it's pretty far up there just because it's something that's rarely seen. But a 1 terabyte solid state drive you can get for a little bit less than $100, maybe in the upper 90s or a little bit over 100 depending on which brand you go with, and you know, if you want things like a DRAM cache or NAND flash, things like that. Like the SSD I got was dirt cheap. It was pretty much $45 for 512 gigabytes, and that's going to get me 2 hours of continuous recording using the Ninja. So my GH4 internally already doesn't have a recording limit, but this just allows me even more footage, and it's more convenient to be able to just grab that high quality video file off the camera, take it right in, and it's ready for editing. I don't have to stitch it together first, create a compound clip, it's ready to go. One area where I did notice a big difference was doing my green screen video. So I was able to get a lot more of the green removed. I mean, I'm not good at chroma keying anyway, but this is the closest that I was able to get to like it being perfect. A lot less ghosting. The image looked a lot more clear, especially if you zoom in, there's not as many jagged edges because it's collecting so much more data. So even though I couldn't see the extra colors that were there, it definitely made a difference when I went to go remove the green from the image. Everything was just a lot smoother. And that was one of the main things that I really wanted because I was doing green screen. And I did watch a video where they said if you do green screen, it does help to record in 10 bits. So overall, if you can find one of these for around the $200 price range, like what I paid for it, I think it's worth it. There are, of course, newer recorders, but a lot of them start off, I think the cheapest one might be the Blackmagic. I forgot which model it is, but I think it's around 500, and then Atomos' cheapest new one is around 600. So for the reasons I mentioned earlier, if you want to, you know, get longer record times because your camera has a recording limit, or if you do green screen and your camera like mine can only output 10-bit externally and can't do 10-bit internally, then it might be worth getting it. The one other thing that I would say that's kind of a con is the display. So it is a lower resolution display and it does look kind of washed out. I mean, this was from 2012, but it is a touchscreen, so that is nice. I mean, it's not the greatest touchscreen, but it works well enough to kind of navigate and get around the menus. And on top of that, it also has things like focus peaking and zebra stripes. I mainly use focus peaking. That's like a big thing for me because I have to set up my own focus. And I've definitely had videos ruined, even recently, because I was out of focus and didn't realize it. The one thing that's a pro for me is you can record while monitoring, but also if you just want to record without monitoring, you can do that. And the reason that's a pro for me is because I can't have the monitor, like I can't see the monitor when I'm recording, or else I just look at it and I won't look at the actual camera. And that was a big issue for me when I first started doing YouTube. So after that is I would set everything and then I just turn the monitor around in my camera so I couldn't see it. But at least with this, I can get everything set up, get my focus set, which it is way easier to set the focus using the focus peaking on the monitor than it is in the camera because the screen's so much bigger. And to me, it's a lot easier to see like the area that it's focused on. And then when I go to record, I can just go back and then just hit record and it'll just sit there on the main menu and show you the time that it's been recording. It won't actually show the image if you don't want to see it. So I definitely consider that a pro. Oh, and then one weird thing is the SSD, like ejecting it from the device is weirdly difficult. I don't know why. It really like fights to keep that SSD in there, and the button that you have to push to release it, which is on the other side of the device, is super hard to push. So it might be because I have a used unit. I don't know if that's the experience that everybody's having. I did see a lot of complaints about it online for this particular model, so I think it might just be a thing. But yeah, it's literally, I felt like I almost have to break the thing to get the SSD out of it. Overall, for my purposes, I'm definitely happy with the purchase. I hope this video is informative if you are looking into getting like an older recorder and trying to save some money. And just think about what I said about, you know, you're restricted to 1080p 30, but there are other advantages that this gives you if you're willing to record in 1080p 30. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace. Maybe I can be a ninja one day too. No, what do you mean no? I'm stealthy. I know how to sneak around.